Do I need to track calories with PCOS? What is the right calorie range for my body? And why is it that I'm eating 1,200 calories per day and still cannot lose weight? Today, we're answering these really common questions, and we're gonna tackle the overarching bigger question here, which is, do calories really matter for PCOS? Stick around, we're gonna dive right in. Here's the thing, the focus on calories in our diet-obsessed culture is based on the idea that creating a calorie deficit will lead to weight loss. Calories in versus calories out. Have you ever heard of this equation? Well, this assumes that all body types are the same, all medical history is the same, all genetics is the same, and of course, that is not true. So while there's some scientific evidence behind the calories in out equation, for PCOS, this is not a good way to go. There are a lot of compounding factors here that make calorie counting not a great approach for PCOS. Now, before we dive into the specific reasons that I believe calorie counting and restriction don't really work for PCOS, let me ask you something really simple. How many times have you gone on a diet and tried to lose weight with PCOS? How did it go? Did you feel like you've tried every diet under the sun in the past and all you got were temporary results or maybe none at all? If that's the case, you're definitely not alone. And here's one thing I want you to understand about diets. There's this secret that you've likely never been told, but I'm gonna tell it to you today. And it can explain why this happens, why so many people with PCOS go on diets and see no results. And the reason is that all diets do the same thing. Yep, whether it's Weight Watchers or Paleo or keto or intermittent fasting, all diets work on a similar concept, and that is reducing your overall calorie intake. So points and macros and whatever it may be, those are all essentially calorically deficit diets. Those diets basically cut back on your calories. So if you've had a rough experience with diets and with calorically restricted plans, which essentially is what diets are, you're definitely not alone. Again, most women with PCOS find that calorie-based approaches, meaning all diets, don't really provide relief from PCOS symptoms, and they don't really produce sustainable, long-lasting weight loss for them. And it may be surprising to discover that the reason for this is pretty simple. PCOS weight gain is usually the result of hormonal imbalances, specifically insulin, cortisol, and some hormones related to inflammation, and not excessive calorie intake. When your hormones, things like insulin and cortisol, again, some of your sex hormones are high, it's very hard for the body to enter fat burning mode and shed those pounds. So instead, what happens is the body holds on to calories that we eat and stores them immediately as energy in the form of fat for later use. So whether you eat 500, 1,200, or 2,000 calories is really irrelevant here because weight gain will still happen while the hormones are imbalanced under the surface. So now that we have a general idea of why calories aren't a great parameter to measure or go by when it comes to PCOS weight loss, let's break it down a little bit more and dive into the three main reasons calories don't really matter and you don't need to count them. Reason number one is that restricting calories does not guarantee stable blood sugar. So the most important thing for your hormone health, for healthy eating, for PCOS is blood sugar control. By far, this is the number one thing that I would recommend you work on. Keeping your blood sugar levels stable throughout the day is the foundation of balancing hormones, reducing insulin resistance, and controlling inflammation. So these are all major drivers of PCOS weight gain, and that's why blood sugar becomes such an important thing for us to look for. Counting calories does not necessarily promote blood sugar control, and in many cases, it can worsen it. One of the reasons for this is that when you're restricting calories and counting calories and trying to fit into a certain range, you're going to likely eliminate a lot of healthy foods that are more calorie dense, and those foods happen to be really good for your blood sugar control. So when the priority is to consume as few calories as possible, it's really common to eliminate hormone balancing foods like high fiber fruit, beans, grains, fats like avocados, nuts and seeds, because they're higher calorie. But all of these foods are essential for balancing your blood sugar because they not only provide fiber, they can also prevent insulin spikes after meals and increase your fullness. So this is an example of one instance where focusing on numbers can really backfire when it comes to PCOS weight gain because it does not guarantee guarantee that your blood sugar will remain balanced. Another reason that counting calories is a problem is that it focuses more on quantity, not so much on quality. So similarly to what we just talked about regarding blood sugar, many women with PCOS don't realize that eating a certain amount of calories is not a guarantee for good nutrition, just like it's not a guarantee for balanced blood sugar. So if you've ever eaten your day's worth of calories or points in M&Ms or candy, I've been there, you know what I'm talking about, right? So there are many ways to stay compliant within your calorie goals or a range, but totally miss the mark when it comes to the quality of nutrition, for getting, your essential nutrients, vitamins, and minerals that your body needs in order to balance the hormones and heal. And so if you're looking to lose weight, it's not just about the quantity. We also want to ensure that you're getting good nutrition and high quality foods within a certain calorie range. And that's why the calorie range is really not important here. What's more important is focusing on the types of foods that you're eating, putting your plate together in a balanced way, and getting as many high quality ingredients as you can. And this, by the way, is the same reason that I don't recommend counting macros or calculating macros for PCOS either. Again, there is no guarantee of quality. You can definitely eat within your macros, but get very poor nutrition and totally miss the mark. Inside my program, Reset Your PCOS, we completely shift the focus from counting calories, calculating macros, relying on grams and ounces, to quality. We focus on making sure you're setting up your plate in the most nutritious way possible. You're looking at the quality of the foods that you're eating in your day. You have a good balance of nutrients across your proteins, fats, carbs, and other things. And really what we want to make sure is that the healthy eating that you practice in the program is sustainable and is helping you feel satisfied. It's helping you feel pleasure from food, and it doesn't feel strict and depriving like a diet does. And so most people don't want to count calories and become food accountants for the rest of their life. And so inside the program, I show you how to leave that behind and eat in a way that truly works for PCOS and does not rely on numbers. And then the last, but probably most important reason I don't like calories for PCOS is that counting calories can trigger disordered eating for women with PCOS. And women with PCOS are already at an increased risk for disordered eating. And I believe that calorie counting can be a major trigger for this and really create an obsessive, stressful relationship with food. So I want to give you some thoughts or examples of beliefs that represent this kind of toxic relationship between dieting and counting calories and tracking and PCOS. So if you've ever told yourself, oh, if I have this food now, then I can't have that food later, or I don't have enough calories or points left in my day, or I had a big lunch, which means I have to skip dinner, or I have to find out how many calories are in this meal before I start eating. I know these thoughts and beliefs because I've been there, and that is no way to live. Eating should be pleasurable, it should bring you joy, and it shouldn't create stress and anxiety, especially because PCOS is a complex, lifelong condition that requires a sustainable approach. It requires you to do things that you can keep doing forever, and counting calories is not one of them. It's highly unsustainable. It can cause anxiety and stress around meals, and overall, it can be a huge mental burden on you. So I want you to think about whether or not you want to spend your days tracking calories, thinking about those numbers, or if you want to just feel more intuitive around food, have more peace with food, and eat for both pleasure and health at the same time. This is what we do inside Reset Your PCOS. I teach you how to achieve that delicate balance, and let me tell you, it's absolutely life-changing. Okay, so here's what I want you to do next. I want you to realize that letting go of calorie counting and that dieting mindset may take time to let go of, especially if you've done it for many years. But my hope is that you now realize how irrelevant calories can be for PCOS. Focusing your attention on other things like reducing insulin levels, stabilizing your blood sugar, enhancing the quality of your meals can dramatically reduce symptoms of PCOS and help you with gentle weight loss, reducing cravings, having more energy, regulating your periods. So that's a much better way to go. In addition, I think that shifting the focus away from numbers can provide that mental relief and reduce food stress and anxiety. And this is not going to only make your journey with PCOS more enjoyable, but it's also going to reduce the negative impact that food can have on your hormones and your body. So I hope based on what we talked about today, you now can see why calories are not as relevant for PCOS, mainly because they don't guarantee quality, they don't really help you stabilize your blood sugar in many cases, and of course, they can cause a huge mental burden. What I suggest that you do instead is identify what's driving your PCOS symptoms right now. I do have a quiz that you can take and will help you discover that. It can take some time to unlearn dieting behaviors like counting calories and restricting, but give yourself some grace, have patience and compassion, and you're gonna get there. This is going to make your healing journey so much more enjoyable, smoother, and faster, so you can feel better ASAP. You absolutely deserve it. Now, if you're ready to mend your relationship with food, balance your hormones naturally, let go of diets, and get some help and support along the way, I want you to check out Reset Your PCOS, my 90-day program to reversing both insulin resistance and inflammation, where I teach you exactly what to eat, how to balance your hormones, how to plan your meals, and how to stay consistent and motivated long-term. All right, I'll put the link for the program below so you can check it out. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I'll talk to you soon.